Good morning, members. So I'm Amanda, and I've been very busy over the last several hours transplanting all of the last of the Alcantara and the Neoregelia, which were planted back in, originally hybridized, I should say, back in 2020, and seeds went down in 2021. We are now July of 2022. All of these seedlings have now been transplanted into their individual containers. I prefer to transplant them into more community style pots. They seem to do better. Near Regelias, once they reach a certain size, of these size, for example, which are 2-year-old seedlings, they're several leaves now, 4 or 5 leaves. They're quite happy to be in their individual mix, and so they are doing quite well. Versus Alcantarayas, which start off very small. Now, they require a lot of feeding. They are big plants, they're hungry plants. So they've been transplanted into a hydroponic high grow peat moss preparation, which is used for seedlings. It's something that I have found to be very successful. To that mix, I add vermiculite, and I also add some very fine perlite. All of these plants are now going to be misted once a week with a foliar fertilizer, and it will be a diluted Thrive that is made for feeding them, and that keeps them nice and healthy as well. Now, the containers that they're in are individual containers which have got humidity control tops on each of them, which means when we get very wet weather, we're able to close them off to prevent these seedlings drowning. A couple of days of rain and the seedlings will become very weak. Now, out of all of the grexes, and a grex, as I've explained before, is if I put pollen onto a parent and produce seed, and I have a seed parent and a pollen parent, any of the resulting seed is then planted, and that is a grex. And it doesn't matter whether or not that grex has been planted today or in 6 months' time or in a year's time. If it is the same seed, it is the same grex. Out of the grex, you can select an individual plant. And if that individual plant is different for whatever reason, say, for example, you produce a variegated Glasuriana, for example, you can select that plant and you can name it, you can register it, and you can send the information through to BCR, which is the International Database of Registration of our bromeliads. Jeff Lawn is the person currently who is volunteering and managing such a large influx of registrations, and so those registrations do take time. From the time of planting of these seeds to the time of growth and flowering, as I've got one outside at the moment, it has taken 12 years. Just to give you a little idea of the length of time that it takes for us who hybridize and grow from seed. The reason we do it is we want to improve something. So it's not, for me, it's not about producing thousands of the same kind of plant for landscaping. I want to particularly produce plants that are tolerant of our sun here in southeast Queensland, that do not burn, that retain their colour, that do not fade, so therefore do not require us moving them around season after season. Just one final look at a few extra seedlings that are yet to be transplanted out. These are some Dickias, which were planted quite some time ago as well, and they're due to go into their own containers, and they were planted out in 2020 as seeds, and so these cute little Dickias are just going to get transplanted into a few little individual pots, and then they will be put away as well to grow on. One final thing on the opposite side, once again, we have some bilbergias. These bilbergias here now will be planted individually. They are well and truly large enough, or maybe even just clumped in maybe 1 or 2 in a community pot. Bilbergias seem to do better that well. In that case, they don't seem to stress as much. I don't transplant them until they're this size. The particular ones that you're looking at is a variety that I did way back in 2020, back in, when was it? December of 2020. And they are a cross between Chipper, which is a John Catlin hybrid, and another one which is mine, which is strawberry chocolate milkshake, which is a very large variety. So these last few will be now transplanted out. There are some alcantarayas in here as well. Grunts of the litters are never kept. They're odorata. I have plenty of odorata. They will not be staying. They will be going. These ones are vinicolor and Acadian. I also have 3 trays of those, which would equal about 150. So no, I don't require those either. Same with these vinicolors. Now, members of our group, I don't share my seedlings. It makes it very complicated later on, and I don't share the seeds of any that I hybridize. These seedlings will be transferred out the bilberges. The remaining ones are always disposed of. You must do that when you're hybridizing. Now, you must be ruthless. The next thing is iron ochre. Thank you, Gary May, for giving me this gorgeous, gorgeous totem of iron ochre, which I will now be having to go through and cleaning it all up and removing and halving. So giving them lots of airflow so that they continue to grow, and I will create yet another iron ochre stick. So thank you very much, Gary, for that little one. And he ended up with some lovely bilberges instead. So lots to do, lots to be done. Happy gardening, everybody. I will be away for some time. So the rest of the moderators and the administrators of the group will continue, I'm sure, to keep it going in my absence. Best of luck with everything, and hopefully I'll be back in a few days' time or so, sounding a lot different. Best of luck. Bye now.